we were told that our energy crisis will be solved just by decoupling production from distribution and by introducing the private sector, bringing the private sector into the production of power. This is what we were told. This program was supported by the International Monetary Fund. It was supported by the World Bank, and it was vigorously promoted by the government of the United States of America.
Okay.
And it fitted into the new liberal agenda. Now, Sana, we brought in the independent power producers. We effectively broke down the Volta River Authority, decided that the Volta River Authority should not be responsible for the Bui Dam project, and that the Bui Dam project should be decoupled from Akosombo. We brought in the Northern NEDCO, and so on. Look at where we are. All those things which was presented to us as solutions have not been solutions. We've been hoodwinked again. Now our reality tells us that the answer to the problems, the concrete problems that face our people, is not the pursuit of the new liberal agenda, which deliberately seeks to transfer state assets into private hands, and which deliberately insists that all aspects of our life involving production and distribution needs to be run only because it can generate profit. Hogwash, absolute nonsense. This is our reality. Okay? So that didn't work. And today we have a power crisis. Now, the power crisis we have today is not because we don't have the generation capacity we have. We have excess capacity. Our problem is simply that the country's economy, we are so very broke that we cannot buy fuel for our plants. That's all. We are broke. We owe this Asogli plant $2 billion. And we can't pay them. And they're saying that if we can't pay them, they don't know how they can find money to go and get the necessary fuels and so on to continue generation. So they've shut down the plant. Either IPPs are warning us that they're also going to shut down because they cannot continue. This is the crisis. You understand? The country is broke. When the finance minister goes to the IMF and comes and says, we have turned the corner, what corner have you turned when you cannot buy fuel to generate power? So this is where we are. But you see, there is some very interesting history to all of this. After the February 24, 1966 coup, when the National Liberation Council took power and so on, they went and brought some European experts to come and evaluate, our energy needs. Don't forget that the opposition to Nkrumah had insisted that the Akosombo Dam was a prestigious project. It was too big, that the power that the Akosombo Dam was going to generate was too much for our needs and so on, and had actually sought to sabotage the Akosombo project by prevailing upon Kaiser and so on not to invest in the project. They had actually sent delegations to the United States of America to prevent the United States from investing in the Akosombo project, because they said it was an over-ambitious project. Don't forget that history. Okay? Now, that history was overcome. And we managed to establish, the Akosombo hydroelectric project. But being the visionary leader that Nkrumah was, Nkrumah saw that some time to come, even Akosombo would not be sufficient for the needs of the Ghanaian people because of the industrialization policy and so on. So they sought to establish a nuclear plant in order to provide us with more electricity than Akosombo Dam could provide. The Bui Dam was also part of the project which the Nkrumah government envisaged in order to resolve the concrete problems that we have. As a matter of fact, by February 24, 1966, Russian engineers were already on the ground at the Bui Dam construction site, February 24, 1966, ready to build the Bui Dam for us. We sacked them. We sent them back home. The nuclear project was completely abandoned. And these traitors went to Europe, brought an European who advised us not to expand our capacity. That we don't need it. We don't need nuclear. In fact, a prototype nuclear plant which was supplied to Ghana by the USSR was taken to the United States of America, was given to the United States of America in order that American scientists study Soviet technology at that time. We had already signed a valid agreement with the government of the USSR. That agreement was abrogated. Look at where we are today. So this is the history, and it's an important history. You understand? The way some of our politicians think and the harm some political traditions have done to this country manifests in the Dumsor that we are experiencing today. And it should be clear to all of us. Now, I had the privilege, I think in 2001, of interviewing a gentleman who was then the chairperson of Ghana's Energy Commission, and who, by accident or so, happens to be the father of Nana Asante Bedietru, the executive secretary to the president. And he predicted this situation. He predicted that Ghana was going to get into a severe power crisis from President Kufuor's era. And that it was going to take a lot of effort and resources to get out of this power crisis. Now, Senna, his predictions have come true. Okay? His predictions have come true. And he made this prediction from the realization that we were not adding any capacity to what we had already. And that for many years we had not added any capacity to what we had already. And that this crisis was going to catch up with us. So the crisis started in the era of President John Adjekun Kufuor. And I recall vividly that it was during that period that some of our archbishops and deacons and pastors and so on wore their gowns and put huge crosses around their necks and trooped all the way to the Akosombo Dam to go and pray over the dam so that God will pour water into the dam. You remember?
Vividly.
You remember?
It's difficult to forget.
Difficult to forget. That whole exercise was one in futility and stupidity. It didn't resolve the energy crisis. The holy water they poured into the dam was not sufficient to fill up the dam. And this is where we are. It didn't solve the problem. So to sit back and blame all the problem on the Mahama administration is to be disingenuous.